Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to finish our look at Children of the Grave by Black Sabbath by checking out Tony Iommi's solos here. So we have this main solo, and then at the very end, right after this section, we have some little octave, unison bend outro thing. So we're going to take a look at that in this video as well too. So let's start with this solo. Now we're still tuned down a minor third, so hopefully you're already in that from the first video. Now let's talk about the solo real quick. It is very improvised, so I'm going to break down the licks for you phrase by phrase, but it's one of those solos that he doesn't actually repeat it the same way every time anyway. It's really kind of just based around kind of like an E blues scale, and then he has a couple definitive licks in there that he will repeat when he plays it like live and stuff, but you know, it's one of those things where getting it every single note exactly like he does, it's going to be kind of difficult, but he doesn't do it that way anyway. So, but let's see if we can try it. So we're going to start here with some unison bends at the 12th fret on the high E and the 15th fret there on the B. So you're going to bend up that B string until you match the note of the high E. So you can do that 2 sets of 2. All right, let me actually turn this delay and reverb off. So now we're going to go into the first phrase. All right, so that's all based kind of just around E pentatonic, really. Now, if you want to just improvise like he would live, what he's doing is mostly triplets. So literally, if you wanted to take this just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A large part of the really long runs are descending triplets throughout the E blues scale. So starting on like this, go 3 notes down, then 3 notes down for the next note. Just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Keep that feel going through that scale. It's going to sound fine. But let's do it note for note for those guys who want to learn it that way. So after those 2 unison bends, we're going to now do the bend of the B string, 15th fret, and then the 12th fret on the high E twice. So that 1, 2, 3, that's that triplet. And then we're going to pull off 15 to 12 on the B, and then a bend there at the 14th fret on the G string. That's our next triplet. So we have this. And then when you release back to the note, that's the first note there of the next triplet. All right, so we have this so far. You're going to pull off there, 14 to 12, over to 14 on the D. So we have this. You can pull off there to the D string, the 12th fret on the D. So far, we're going to have this. I'm sorry, not the 12th on the D, 12th on the G. So we have this. All right, continuing those triplets. So that's going to be a bend there at the 14th fret on the G, and then 12 on the B, 12 on the high E. Then to that bend there at the 15th fret on the B string. So up to the 12th fret on the high E. So far we have this. All right, now back to the triplets, pulling off. This is the next triple lick. All right, so I know these kinds of solos, every lick is very similar, yet slightly different. So it's very difficult to memorize. So that's why I said you might want to just kind of do it like he would and just improvise it and just do a bunch of triplets throughout the scales. But so anyway, we're gonna coming out of. So we're coming out of this this. We're gonna be pulling off 15 to 12 again. Then in release of the 14 down to 12. Then pull off 14 to 12. 14 on the D, 12 on the G. Back 14 to 12 on the D string, and then you're gonna do a little 14, 12, 14 again. Over to the 12 on the G. Remember, keep the feel of the threes going for most of it. Except when he does it, he'll do something like that and just kind of an eighth note feel, but then it's back to the. All right, then we're back to the kind of a. Now that feels a little bit different. So that's going to be a triplet to start it, a bend there to 14 on the G string, to 12 on the B, 12 on the high E. And then we have a couple of eighth notes, bending the 15th fret on the B into the 12th fret on the high E twice. And then you're going to pull off 15 to 12, over to 15 on the B, pulse that bend, and back to the 12 on the high E string. All right, now we start one of those long descending triplet runs. Looks like this, just using the E blues. All right, so we're gonna just pull off 15 to 12, over to 15 on the G string, pull off to 14, 12, then back to 14, back to 12, to 14 on the D. So that was 3 triplets there. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, so after you get to that D, you're gonna go to the 12th fret there on the G and pull off 14, 12, then one more time, 14 on the A to 12 on the D. Then he slides down, he changes the position here. So he's gonna slide down, 14 to 12, to pull off to 10, and then kind of one of those trills again, like 12 to 10, back to 12. Then pick 12 again, slide up to 14, to 12 on the D. So you're back into that position. So. All right, so now from there we have this. So that's kind of, we're building into one of the more definitive licks of the solo. So we have hammer 12 to 14, 12 on the G, pulse that bend at 14. That same kind of lick there where you're rolling from 12 to 12 on the B to the high E. And then a triplet going 15, pull off to 12, back to 15, and then you do 2 eighth notes up to 17 here, 15 on the high E. And then we have this lick, which you probably know if you've heard the song. Now, as you know, the past couple of phrases that I have done, there's a second guitar solo overdub over it. Was a little bit lower in the mix. So what we're doing here is I'm sticking with the main one, which is the one that he started with, and then, you know, played through with, you know, I guess like 4 measures. And then there's another guitar that comes in with it, which we're going to ignore because it's not really the main part. It's kind of just, it's a little bit lower in the mix. So we're sticking with the one that's loud. If you're listening to a headphones, I think it's probably on the left-hand side. So, so we go into this lick, and that's just going 17, hammer to 18, pull off to 17, pull off to 15. So we have this. You see how that kind of 17's held a little longer? And then we just have this. So that's coming down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have pulling off 17 to 15, 17 on the B, back to 15 on high E. Then pull off 17, 15 on the B. Then play 16 on the G, slide down to 14, pull off to 12, pull off 14 to 12, 14 on the D, back to 12 on the G. So that's kind of that really, it's a very definitive part of the solo. So there's not a lot of them in this solo. So it's good to kind of latch on to a couple of the licks at least. So we have now, so now you're going to do the bend at the 14th fret. Let me just play it real quick. All right, so that is, coming out. We're just going to have this bend at the 14th fret on the G to the 12th fret on the high E. Then a bend at the 15th fret on the B to 12th on the high E. So a couple of eighth notes. All right, back to the triplets here through the blues scale. Pulling off 15 to 12. Bend and release at the 14. Pull off to 12. 14 to 12 again. 14 on the D. 12 on the G. Back down to the D string. 14 to 12 pull off. Another one of those 14, 12, 14. Then we're back to the 12th fret on the G. 14 bend again. Same licks again. Bend to the 14. Roll 12 to 12. And then we're going to bend there at the 15th fret on the B. That's 12 on the high E. Pull off 15 to 12 over to 15 on the B. Into the bend. And then end it there on the 12th fret on the high E string. So once again, you're seeing a lot of the same licks. So it's easy to get lost. But don't beat yourself up if you can't memorize every single note, because neither does he. All right, so let's just start here with that phrase again. All right, now we're to a long descending and partially ascending E blues lick in triplets that ends the solo. So that whole thing is going to look like this. All right, so we're starting here, same thing again. We're at 15 to 12 pull off. Then 15, 14, 12. So he's picking the first note and pulling off to the other ones. Then pulling off 14 to 12 again. Try this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we're 14 on the D, then back. This is where we go back up. After the 14 on the D, go back up to 12, 14 on the G. That roll there, there's no bend there though. And then you go back with the same descending lick, starting from the 15, 12 pull off. And it's very similar to what you did earlier. All right, so when you get down there, it's just like when we shifted down, the same thing. Then instead of going, you're just gonna go 12, 10 to 12, back to 10, and then into the next section, back into the transition riff out of the solo. So one more time for that ending phrase. All right, now let's take a look at those little outro section. We play the transition riff one time here, and then it goes into these unison bends that ends the song. This is what it sounds like. All right, so those are unison bend starting at the 12th fret on the high E. So 12th on the high E, bending the 15th fret on the B together. When you do the bend, then you pick them again after you've got it in tune. And then do the same thing at the 14th fret, then at 15, 16, and then 17, you do it at the 17 first, but the second hit is just the 17th fret on the high E string by itself, sliding back down to start over. So we have this. We're going to do it 3 times total. And that's into an E power chord, low E open, 7th on the A, and 9 on the B. All right, so like I said, that's an improvised solo, not the ending part, but the main solo. So do what you want with it. As long as you know that it's E blues with a lot of descending triplets, you'll probably be able to do your own thing with it, and it will sound great. All right, and maybe just latch on those couple of those sections that kind of really stand out. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.